ended quite abruptly.
I was enjoying that. That's good. I was enjoying it.
Do you know what? I had that all worked out earlier perfectly. That ended quite abruptly. Anyway, good evening and welcome to THFC Till I Die on this great New Year's Eve, the end of 2022, and hopefully 2023 will be a blast for you all. And joining me tonight, this is the pre-match show where we look ahead to the Villa game. Before I introduce my guest tonight, I want to say a big up to Wayne Bonner for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Wayne. And if you want to be like Wayne, and also Elias and a few other, and also Nick Copeland and William Kelly to get a badge beside your name, please do become a member. They're very cheap. I think the cheapest one is $2.99 a month. So we tried to make it as cheap as possible. We know times are hard out there. And if you want to get a question into the panel, also you can get it in as a super chat as well. Also, this channel is now being sponsored by Nick Copeland. So, Nick, thank you very much indeed for everything you're doing for the channel. And thank you. And looking forward to a big 2023 on THFC Till I Die. Joining me tonight is, of course, my usual co-host, Mia, and also from Blue Sofa Songs, the man who really is like a bit like Chuck Berry and a bit like... I don't know, some of the great guitarists, Brad Matthews. I'll start with you, Brad. How are you this evening on this New Year's Eve?
I'm good, thanks, Dermot. So Dermot, Mir, and everyone in chat, Happy New Year. This is my first beer since about 2:00, so...
You're doing well. Happy New Year.
Although I did have some last night, or yesterday, But, I'm doing fine. It's been a weird year, both good and bad. So the last two New Year's Eve, I've been a lot drunker than I am at the moment, but not that I'm drunk at all. It's my first sip. But the last couple of years, I've shouted out the window at 12:00. Fuck off 2020 and fuck off 2021. So, will I be saying the same thing for this? I don't know.
Yeah, and we've got the first F-bomb before 10 minutes, so we're doing brilliantly.
Apologise. One sip of beer. One sip of beer.
One sip of beer, Brad. I'm not going to say. And Mia, how are you this evening on New Year's Eve? And you're relaxing at home with you and the boys. And how was 2022 for you?
It's been all right. It goes too quickly for my liking. I just think you blink and you miss it, sort of thing. Like, especially when you've got children and they're growing up before your eyes, and it's crazy to see. Like, the boys are now both taller than me and getting big, and I'm just like, I don't want it to happen. Every year that goes past, another year they're getting bigger. I don't like it.
No, I know. When you get to my age, I'm 46 in February, years just go quickly by, very quickly. I felt Christmas snuck up in us this year, same as last year after the pandemic. But look, it's start 2023. We're all going to have a fantastic year, and so are Spurs as well. We're going to win a trophy next year. Fingers crossed. Anyway, let's see who's in the chat tonight before we get into the show. We've got Adrian Soko. Good evening, all. Good evening, Adrian. Hope you're doing well. Carl Simpson, big up. Carl says, good evening, everybody. Wayne Bonner, thank you, Wayne, again for becoming a member. Says, good evening, everybody, and happy New Year. I love that. Big up, Wayne. We've got Elias as well, another member. Big up, Elias. Says, happy New Year to everyone. Brad saying hello to all. We've got Mick Harmlet. Big up, Mick. He says, big up, everyone, the evening. And then it's just we've got Bob Spur. Get a new dictionary for Christmas. Looked up words. Liar, unambitious, and tosser. All said leanic. I have to say that's the best one I've seen. I have to say that's a good one, Bob. And please, Bob is on later. I think after me.
We'll have to. Someone's got to go on the Enoch wiki page and make a few changes. I think.
But Bob, wish you and your family,
Kim
and the family, happy New Year, and hope you have a great 2023. And Eli says, well said, sadly, it's a good start for an Arsenal. Pretty sad. Yeah, I watched them tonight. I can't even come to say they deserve to be up the top because I'm not going to say it. I don't know. Will we be there? I don't know. It's hard to say. And Mick saying, big up Bob Spur, big up everyone. Right. We are going to talk about the Tottenham game tomorrow against Aston Villa. And we've got some news to go through too. And we're going to start with the bust up with our very own Royale. Now, nobody knows who we had the bust up with. And apparently it says Emerson Royal had been involved in a disagreement with a member of Conte's coaching staff. The report claims that the bust-up was primary reason for Royal not being involved in Spurs Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day over here, game away to Brentford. I'll start with you, Mia. He's now on the transfer list. He's now the one to sell him in January. Are you happy to see the back of him?
Yeah, that's one micro penis gone. Just one to go, innit?
Do you know what? Mia got that in dead on 10 minutes. Absolutely spot on. Yeah. And you, Brad, are you glad to see him go?
I bow to Mia's superior knowledge on the Emerson Royale. But the micro penis aside, yeah, I mean, look, I what you put on the screen there is as much as I know about the so-called bust up.
Yeah.
Probably, so I think that Emerson, I think that Conte, he doesn't put his players under the bus because I think he knows if he does that, then what reason have they got to play for him? But I think that if he can get someone in, a decent right wing back in, then he's off. And look, I think Emerson Royale, he's a decent player. He's not brilliant. You've got to upgrade on him if you're going to win titles and win trophies. He's probably a better fullback than he is a wing back, and that was his main problem. And he put a lot of effort in, a lot of enthusiasm, but at the end of the day, he wasn't good enough. So, he goes. If we can get another right wing back in, that's better. I think that's good. But he certainly goes with my best wishes. Always sort of played with a smile on his face, and so to enjoy being at the club, and that that's it's only a small thing, but it does mean a bit. And so if he goes, then fine. I've got no problems with that.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Carl Simpson just said, "Sorry, Mia, I just want to say that apparently it was Ryan Mason who was really pissed off with Emerson's attitude." Go on, Mia. Sorry, you were going to say.
By the way, micro penis isn't referring to him personally. It's because I call him and Doherty the micro penis competition because basically it's pointless. You both have a micro penis and unsatisfactory, so there's no real point. So they're both pointless, basically.
Adrian Stoker says, Mia, what an excellent description narrative to get the ball rolling, I have to say. And it was spot on 10 minutes as well. She really did that to a T. Carl Simpson says, load of clubs want Emerson in Italy. It's time for a swap deal. Do you feel some of these players that are not good for us, the likes of Winks, Winks never played for Sampdoria, but like Dombele, which we will get into later in the show because apparently he might be sold in January. And Emerson, it's a slower pace in Italy, isn't it, Brad? So do you think do you think the Premier League is too quick for some players?
I certainly for Ndombele, I think that he is obviously talented, but he's playing in the French league, and I think a slower league. The Premiership is all rough and guts. It is a totally different league to any other league in the world. I think. Yeah. And I think that he'll probably be if Napoli want to buy him now. They were top. I don't know if they still are top of the league in Italy. Fair play. And he, again, another player that is talented, and I don't wish him any bad feelings. If he goes away and does well, great, no problems. He just wasn't suited for the Premiership.
Yeah. No problem. We got now we're talking about team news tomorrow, players in and out. He's available. Conte's talking about Romero is back tomorrow on the left side of the defence, thank God. But Bentancur will miss Aston Villa's because he's out injured. The medical team apparently got it wrong. I'll start with you, Mia. Are you glad to have Cutie back? And are you sad that Bentancur will be missing from the game?
Am I glad to have Cutie back? That's a bit of a silly question, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It is, actually.
Of course, we need him there because he's somebody who's got a bit more level head. He's a bit more reassured with the ball. He doesn't make dumb mistakes like some of our backline do. He's definitely more of a stable player, and we'll massively miss Benny again. I've said that against Brentford, we really missed Bentancur in that middle. It really made a difference, and you could see that it made a difference because it just wasn't as controlled. It just wasn't. He controls it, and he's really good with the ball as well. He takes the ball. He's really, good on the ball. He turns with the ball. He's confident, where I just feel like Basuma wasn't that confident, especially in that first half. So Benny is a massive miss for me. And he also has been chipping in with the goals like Højbjerg has. So I think he is a big miss, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. You, Brad, with Romero back. Look, we did miss him before the World Cup. Now, was he injured? Wasn't he injured? Look, we'll never know. We sort of do know, but we'll have the evidence to know. Do you think he'd bring balance back to our back three?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if we get the World Cup Romero, I mean, he got criticism for being injured, before the World Cup and then playing in the World Cup. But I think that applied to a lot of players in various degrees that they were looking at the World Cup. I really do, and I think I've said this on streams before. But yeah, him back at the back, I think it's a good sign. Actually, it's a very good sign that he's come back, literally back to training about a week or so after he's won the World Cup, and he's obviously done enough in training to look like he might start tomorrow. And I think that's a really good sign because there were people, including myself, that thought, what's he going to be like? He's a young lad. He's just won the World Cup. You can't do any better than that. How's he going to come back to Tottenham? It's like, well, I've done it now. But if he's come back within a week and Conte's going to play him, that's a really good sign. Bentancur, I think, when Bentancur and Højbjerg play well together, the team plays well. So I think you can't underestimate that. So I think Bentancur, it's a shame that I think if Conte had rotated his teams a little bit more in the lead up to the World Cup and Basuma had got more games, I think Basuma would be more of a match-ready player now than he is, or certainly what he showed in the first half, definitely at Brentford, where he was awful, and he improved a bit in the second half. But I think, so I think if he hadn't have had that, if he'd been rotated more and got more games, I think we wouldn't have any problems with having Højbjerg and Basuma playing in the middle. But we'll certainly miss Bentancur, and let's hope that he's back sooner than later.
Yeah. Bentancur, we've got a few comments here. How long is he out for, Brad? Amir, is he out for about 3 months, I heard somewhere? Was it?
I haven't heard that. I think it's he's going to have another scan, isn't he? So we'll
maybe a few more weeks, I would have thought.
Yeah. Elias, just keep it a little bit clean in the comments, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. I know, but just like to keep it a bit clean. I've got transfer news now, and look, apparently Spurs are talks for a permanent sale for a big money player for next week, and that's actually done. Mr. Burger King himself, who went to Napoli, and now according to the Daily Mail, Tottenham Hotspur are accepting talks will take place next week regarding the permanent sale of Ndombele. Now, look, if Napoli want to take Ndombele, it goes on to stay off our hands permanently. We should take whatever we can and run to get him off our wage bill. For good would be a big bonus. And while we won't get anywhere what we paid for him, any free we can recoup with boosted transfer funds. I'll start with you, Mir. Do you think it's a good thing to get him gone?
Definitely 100%. I think even if we take a loss on him, it's better to have him gone because he just didn't work out. It didn't work out. Like Brad said, he is a talented guy, but it's about application. You can't just have a talent. It's a bit like Brad sitting there, being able to play the guitar, but just sitting there and letting the guitar sit there. Like, what's the point of you being able to play it if you're going to just let it sit there? It's silly, isn't it? And that's what I feel like he is. He's a bit wasted with what he is able to do because he's able to do a lot, but he doesn't seem to want to, for us anyway. I think in another league, it's different because the leagues are very different in different countries to the Premier League, and it's a much tougher league and he has to work a lot harder. So it didn't work out. Goodbye. He's got to go.
I mean, like Adrian Soka says here, Brad, Bentancur and Højbjerg have upped their game this season, just need to tighten up at the back as well, will always score goals. I mean, there's no room for Ndombele now if he was to come back now, is there?
This is it. I mean, this is it. It's he might be going down a storm in Italy, but it's like, well, where does he play when he comes back to the club? He's going to be benched and get the odd game. And if we can get something like 40 million, as Mia says, that's added transfer funds. Because at time of asking, which is what, just over 3.5 hours. No, just over. I can't do maths right. Just over 2.5 hours to midnight, and they haven't drawn that 50 million down. So,
No.
as far as I'm aware, I think. Wayne's put here 15 to 20. I did hear 40 mentioned, but
I did as well. But I would take 15 and possibly even a swap deal. Just to get them off the wage bill.
Yeah. I think the 40 million was probably what we. This is a problem. This is a problem being it all over. I think the 40 million is probably what we value him at, and Napoli won't want to pay that. So, hopefully we can. Yeah, 15, 20. Yeah, we just we just need to cut our losses.
I think
you might pick up a bargain with that money.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Paratici is the bargain man. He is the done.
Yeah.
So he does know his Italian football. So you never know what he could bring in.
Yeah, exactly.
Big up Andrew Gregory says, evening, Dermot, Brad and Mia. Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year, Andrew.
Also, big up Ben Kaufman, who's dropped in. Big up. He says, Happy New Year to everyone. Make sure you start the year with the famous words. And as always, Levy out with the 2 fingers up as Brian Dejo does it.
Levy.
Derek Hutchison put Nombele was an absolute disgrace with his attitude. Yeah, he was. Even that game, what was it, against Morecambe in the FA Cup, was it?
Oh,
when we played the third round last year, we refused you did refuse to come.
That was his last game, wasn't it? That was his last game. Yeah, and the crowd reaction that day, you could not play him again. You just couldn't. No. It's just you
couldn't. Carl Simpson says the clause Napoli has is they have to pay 30 million if they get a Champions League football. So the talk is 20 million. So let's take it and put it into a Divi and a right wing back. Mia, would you be happy with that?
Yeah, I think we have to be realistic, don't we? With the money we're going to get for him, and where we need to invest it, and the right wing back, I think, is somewhere we do definitely need to work on. So I would be more than happy with that, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm running a poll in the chat at the moment, and it is: will Spurs go in at halftime ahead? Now we know this is one of the questions I got for you in a minute now, and I will bring it up. 65% say yes, 35% say no. So they're all quite positive.
Well, I've said yes voted yes for the simple reason, law of averages.
Yeah.
We've got 9 games in a row now. So every time we go a goal behind, we're getting closer to the time where we go a goal up.
Yeah.
So it's if you put money on Tottenham going a goal down for 10 games in a row before half time, you've probably got quite long odds. So, law of averages is why I voted yes.
Yeah. Well, the question I've got for you, person, I'll start with you, Brad, and then Mia, I'll bring you in. What would the crowd's reaction be if we don't start strong against a decent Villa side? Well, Villa are a decent side at the moment. Can we avoid going behind for the 10th time in a row? Look, we have our luck every time we go behind, but we always come back. There's going to be that one time where we're not going to come back. So we have to stop this. Well, it's stupid mistakes, isn't it? It's silly schoolboy errors at the back. You can say Eric Dyer. You can say Sanchez. You can say somebody will cock up at the back. But what will tomorrow now, if you are going, Brad, what do you think the reaction will be?
I think the reaction will be positive at the start. But, we're like any football fans. If it's not going well, after 20 minutes, 25 minutes, then the crowd will start to get on the backs of the players and going a goal down. And I've noticed that we don't seem to react well to that. We react well in the second half, probably after a good talking to, but we don't seem to react well to when the crowd gets on top of the team. I think.
So isn't that counterproductive when people do that? I don't see the point of. I understand why people do it, Brad, and that obviously that's up to them and well within their rights to do it. But I just feel like it is counterproductive. You think it's going to make the players get, oh, look, we're booing. No, it's going to actually make them think, oh crap, they're booing us. This ain't very nice. This is horrible.
I agree with you, Mia. You've got to. I mean, I'm totally against booing at half time. If it's a bad score at half time. But, as you say, Pete, everyone's got the right to boo, and I understand why they do, but I personally don't, I'll shout, come on, come on, you've got to get behind the team.
Because the thing is, when you think about motivation, so if you're in a job and somebody is trying to motivate their team, do they sit there and boo them when they don't do it correctly? Or do they say, right, guys, we need to sort this out. We need to do better. We need to do this and do this. So as fans, we need to encourage them and say, come on, guys, you can do better. That's all you need to say to them. Instead of, oh, come on, do better, boys. Come on, let's go. Let's do this.
It also
but I just want to point out, Conte can only do so much. It's only every half time we can start bollocking the players. It's down to them. They have to take responsibility to start of the game, be switched on 100% at the start of every game. Not start at half time or 60 minutes or 70 minutes and decide, oh, okay, let's start to play now. This cannot go on anymore.
We do normally start.
Sorry, Brad.
We do normally start well for the first 3 or 4 minutes, funnily enough, and then sort of go back and not show it. I was interesting because Conte, before the World Cup, Conte took a bit of flack saying, "Oh, it's how he sets up, blah blah blah." But every time they interview him about it, he goes, "I've no idea." It's and he actually made a comment the other day that we should go what we do show in the second half. We should show from from the first whistle. So, and also, I think it means a bit of luck as well. You just want that shot to go in rather than go wide, that shot to get deflected in. You need just a little bit of luck, and then that will just start the momentum up. Because we do come back, but we've come back against Brentford and Bournemouth, and let's face it, we didn't come back against Newcastle, and we didn't come back against Liverpool.
No.
Not to get the result. We played better, but we certainly did not get the result. So yeah, we've got to be really, really careful. But I think that, and it's got to happen one day, just a little bit of luck. The ball goes in, and we're back on track again. It's interesting, actually, as an aside, and I haven't fact checked this, but I heard the other day that we have the same amount of points at this stage in the season as we had in 2017 season, where we came second and got the most Premiership points we've ever got. Ironically, to a Chelsea team managed by Conte.
Yeah.
So, as I say, I haven't fact checked that, but that's what
I did hear that as well. Actually, I did hear that as well. Mia, what were you going to try to say there? Sorry, before we move on.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, I absolutely agree with you. It is down to the players, and it's about, obviously, them getting their heads together and not to do it, because I don't believe Conte wants us to do it. But my point is that if they're already not doing it and the fans are booing them, I just don't feel like that is the correct way to try and encourage them to do better. Because if they hear the fans encouraging them, they might then actually do, because they might think, oh God, yeah, like the fans are now saying do better instead of booing, because booing just seems negative. And like I say, everyone's got their right to do it 100%. Like, I'm not going to say they're not allowed to do it. Of course they can, but I just don't feel like that's the correct way to motivate people and to motivate our players. And they need to get their heads together, but we also need to be behind them, because we're like the 11th. They always say like we're the 12th man. And like, so if we're the 12th man, then we need to do our job also in supporting them.
I remember I went to the Wolves game last year. Sorry, Brad, didn't mean to cut into.
That's right.
And the first half, Brad, was fucking awful. It was. I mean, Ellie says every time I mention that game, I get a twitch. I do, because it was so awful. I'm mentioning Queen Ellie. She is in the house, so we're all better behaved because Her Majesty's watching.
Happy New Year, Ellie.
Happy New Year, Ellie. And she says, I love your avatar, Mia. Happy New Year to all of you lovely people. Big up Mia and Mia and Ellie will be back for their lady show once the lady teams and the lady season has resumed. Bigger and better. We've got big things for the lady side on the channel in 2023. Plus, we are going to cover the Women's World Cup because Ireland and England are in it. So me and Ellie and a few people along the way, we will be covering the Women's World Cup. I think that's in May. And you'll find, and we will cover all the England games and all the other games here on THFC till I die. Mia, look, Andrew Gregory makes a good point here. He says, if you boo at half-time or full-time, and Brad, you can actually.
I vouch for that. Yeah, Andrew is spot on there, especially at full time. If we've had a loss at full time, the music is so loud.
They do turn the music up to drown it out. So, do you think the players need to hear the fans' reactions to make them think, "Hang on a minute, I don't want to hear this"? Or do you think Mia, they're they're protected in their own little bubble,
because
if you know what I mean.
If they know the music's going up, then they clearly know why. And they can see people's body language in a way, like when they're stopping a little bit, they can see they're not silly, are they? They can tell that people are booing them. So they will know that happens. And although they might not read social media, I'm sure that they have gets wind of some of what happens on social media. So to me, booing is just an extension of social media, which is like this mad thing that people seem to think is going to motivate our players when it's not. Yes, they need to hear and maybe saying, you need to do better. Come on, guys, let's do better. That's different from booing, because that's encouragement. Like I say, you won't go into your job and start booing people if you're a manager of a office.
The accounts wrong, yeah.
Yeah, you don't go in the office and start standing there booing people in people's ears and go, boo.
The photocopy gets jammed, boo.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it just doesn't happen. So why should we do it in this? It's no different, is it? It isn't any different, and it's not going to encourage people, and it's not going to motivate people, because you want to motivate those players to do better. That's our aim, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for me, booing them isn't going to achieve that, in my personal opinion.
It's funny because as soon as that thing went up with Andrew saying that the music gets turned up, the party downstairs, I think, has started. So I got home last night and there's this massive big speaker cabinet in the hallway and all these fold-up chairs. I'm like, oh, dear. But hey,
we all know where Brad's going later.
No, I'm not sure what sort of music they play. I think it might be Eastern European, I think, possibly.
But, go down there and boo them, Brad. See if that makes them turn it off.
I'm fine. They're pretty quiet flats around here anyway. But yeah, no, the players, they'll be the first ones to know if they've done wrong, So, and they'll probably be more annoyed than we are, It's just one of those things. But no, I think the booing doesn't help. You've got to get behind your team, and it's collective responsibility from the players, the coaching staff, the supporters. It's like the goal last week against Brentford. Now, Dyer, obviously the corner was caused by Dyer. That was an absolutely atrocious mistake. Absolutely atrocious. I don't think if you'd have thrown the ball at Dyer and you'd have said, hit that, try and skew that ball off for a corner, I don't think he would have done it. If you'd have given 10 goes at it, he wouldn't have done it. So how he did it is beyond me. But the problem was we're rubbish at defending corners, and the defending of that was awful. So, okay, it shouldn't have been a corner if Dyer played better, but you still have to defend it. And we didn't. And the defending was awful at that corner. So it's all collective. It's collective responsibility. And that goes to the fans as well.
It is. It really is. Listen, if you do want to get a question in to Brad and Mia, please, if you want to, you can put it into a super chat. It does help the channel. It does help us. It does help us grow the channel. And also, if you want to get a channel membership as well and be like Elias and Wayne Bonner and Nick Copeland as well, please just hit that membership. It does help us, and it does. And please like and subscribe. It does. Boo and Kirk.
Yeah, I want to bring this up because I feel like that's slightly different, isn't it? You're booing him because he's a bad person.
Yeah, he's not
personally what he's done. It's not football related. What he's done in his life and how he treated that animal is disgusting. And it's the same as the scumbag one as well. He's been accused that we don't know if he's innocent or guilty, but with Kurt Zuma, you know that he done it because we saw it. So you know what I'm saying? Like it is different, and I do feel like that's a bit of a different scenario. Plus, he ain't our player, so
We just want to bring this up as well. Kane only needs 4 to break Jimmy Greaves' record, guys. Look, that is gonna break the older generation, the older fans' hearts to see Jimmy Greaves' records gone. And I'll start with you, Brad, and then I'll go to you, Mia. Brad, how will you feel? I mean, look, you and me never got to see Jimmy Greaves play. We remember him from Saint and Greavesy on a Saturday, and him being on the telly as a pundit and the co-commentator on football, where the likes of David Clark and Philip Brady, I think Ellie as well, saw him at the end of his career. How do you think Harry Kane would feel to become Tottenham's all-time goal scorer?
First of all, my memory of Jimmy Greaves, I saw my first season in 1968. So he played his last game for England in 66 World Cup. Unfortunately, not the final. But he was playing so well in 6 ends. I think 69 was, might have been his best ever season for Spurs. I could be wrong. But certainly 68 and 69, he is playing so well. There's a lot of people talking him to be recalled to the England team. And I have to say it's about getting emotional. I remember the fans used to sing, Jimmy for England, Jimmy for England. So this is a top player. I just hope, there's one few things I hope. I hope I'm there when Kane breaks his record. I think, is it 4 to equal and 5 to break it? I'm not sure. But when he does actually break the record or even equal, I hope I'm there to see it. So I hope it's at home game. And the other thing is, I hope we're in a position where we're quite comfortable in the game so he can truly celebrate. I don't want him to break the record when we're 1-0 down and he scores the equaliser. I'd like us to be, say, 3-up and he scores the 4th goal and it breaks Greaves' record. So they could be like a true celebration for it. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know. But it's when you look, if you watch any of the Jimmy Greaves biographies out there on TV, you realise what an absolutely brilliant player he was. I mean, my cousin David compared it to, like, he was like we think of Messi today. That's how big he thought Jimmy Greaves was. So for Harry Kane to break it in the modern era, don't forget, in the modern era, we don't have so many goals. That's an absolutely amazing record, really is.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a special moment. And look, Jimmy Greaves remains one of my favourite players, but I'm looking forward to Harry breaking the record, and as I'm hoping I'm there to see him do it.
Yeah. And you, Mia? Look, Harry Kane is a once in a generational striker. He really is. Let's not go that. He really is one. Without Harry Kane, I don't think we would have won or get. Harry Kane's got us out of so many holes in the past. How will you feel when he breaks Jimmy Greaves' record? I mean, it's going to be, as I said, for people that have watched Jimmy Greaves and saw him play in his prime, it's going to be a big deal for him, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is a massive deal for him personally, obviously. And to do that is, it is a massive achievement because Greaves obviously was a fantastic player, though I never got to saw him actually play myself, obviously, being a bit younger. But he was a brilliant player, and it would be amazing for Kane to obviously break that. Obviously, another record for him to say that he obviously got to an achievement that he got to. So
My romantic mind thinks that Kane breaks his record and then celebrates by lifting his shirt up and there's like a Jimmy Greaves picture on his shirt. It's something like that, It's. I'm sure it won't happen that way, but
I'm sure that he knows what it means, and obviously, he's very much like that, Kane, isn't he?
And I'm sure if Jimmy was still alive, he'd be applauding him as well. I think he'd be,
of course,
I'm sure he would.
And big up Wayne Bonner becoming a new channel member. Big up, really means a lot, Wayne. Thank you so much indeed. It really means everything.
Get back to there's a point that David Clark making about our free defenders.
Yeah, I am coming on to that next.
Okay,
And that's the next question. I mean, I just want to just finish up on this Harry Kane, Jimmy Greaves thing. You cannot compare Derek Hodgson and Sands. You cannot compare Jimmy Greaves and Harry Kane. Yeah, they are different eras.
It's fair comment. But you can compare records, though. I think you can.
Yeah.
The thing is, I always say this, like comparing different generations is always very difficult, isn't it? Because it was a different time. The way they played football was different. Everything was it was a lot different back then to what it is now. So, it is difficult to compare. But like you say, you can compare records. Of course.
Yeah.
We've got what we've got now. We've got Carson says, I'm sure Greavesy would be proud of a player like Kane to break his record. Yeah, definitely.
He would.
And the crown will go wild if Kane breaks his. Oh, please make it.
He'd have to score. How many games have we got before then? It's 3, isn't it? Have we got?
Yeah, we've got Villa tomorrow, then Palace away. I think we've got the FA Cup next Saturday.
Have we got Man City before Arsenal? I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember. I don't know. I'll have a look. I'll look that up in a minute.
That would be good if we're 3-0 up.
Yeah.
Going into injury time.
Yeah.
And he breaks his record and goes over to the Arsenal fans, holding up the shirt and then parading it around the ground.
Yeah. Trophy.
I don't think he's the sort of player that would do that, to be fair. But...
No, that's true. Trophy presentation if he beats the record. Can we claim that as a trophy? I need some new silverware besides Brad's favourite, the waterfall. Look,
hey, not the water toll trophy. No one else has won it.
No, that water toll trophy. And me and Philip actually went back and looked all into that. That's such an inspirational And we actually brought up in that show of the players that played for Spurs in that First World War. And I actually, when I put that show together, I think I counted 50 or 55 55. I think it's 50% of the players that went never came back. And it was like 16, 15, 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah,
it is shocking. Once you do you think of that, it really is shocking. Ellie, big up. It says, thank you so much for your memberships, Wayne. Much appreciated. It does. Shamu, big up, Rob. And that's it. Rob put a lovely comment in. I did start, and then we're going to go then to David Clark's comment, and then we're going to start that conversation. He says, big up Dermot, Brad, Mia, and all in the chat. From the bottom of my heart, thanks for all the great content throughout the year. Wishing you a healthy 2023.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us on all our content shows and everything.
And
is that
that Rob's avatar?
Yeah,
I've got the Jimmy Green's autobiography released so many years ago. That one that Rob's got on is one he did previously called "This One's on Me." And it's an incredible. I mean, he does talk a lot about his alcoholism.
Yeah.
In the later biography, but in that one, he did mention that he knew he had a problem when he was actually going through rubbish bins to try and find empty bottles of vodka.
Yeah.
Because any vodka left in it. Yeah, that's how bad it got with him. Again, he retired too early, really. And I think he didn't handle life outside football. But this is back in the day where you didn't have the punditry role and all that, and manager, whatever. It's just. That was it, and you didn't have the money to back you up as well, So,
also, I want to say congratulations to the legend that is Pat Jennings, who picked up a CBE, in your King's Honours list. I think in the UK, very very late. He should have got that bloody years ago for the work he's done for football, for playing. He's the only player I think that's played for Tottenham and Arsenal, and still get a standing ovation by Spurs fans when he comes back. I swear to God, there was one match in the 80s. He ran from, I think it was Paxton Road end to the South Stand now. And literally the whole of that South Stand then just stood up and just applauded him. Gave him a standing ovation. Right, guys, the back three.
I actually met Pat Jennings when I went to, me and my brother went and met, like you go back in the old White Hart Lane. And we had a box, and before it, you could go and meet the players, the legend players. So we actually met him when we was there.
Yeah. And there's another player that should have been knighted, Jimmy Greaves as well. He should have been knighted as well. Look, I met Pat Jennings as well. We were taken, we did a job for the company we worked for. I was about 17, 18 at the time. And we did a work on a director's house, and he had a box at Tottenham, and he took us to the Middlesbrough game where we lost 1-0. And I hate sitting in this box, right? Because you cannot shout. You have to sit there, right? And we went into the players' lounge, and I met Ginola and Pat Jennings, and his hands are fucking massive. They really are. They're really big hands. So, yeah, the back three, Brad, you want to talk about that? So let's go on to that.
I was just looking at David's comment there, but it makes me think of something I thought about the other week. Was the fact that I think... We would play. The reason that I think we get stuck in a rut in that first half, I don't think our midfielders and our forwards have any confidence in our back three and our central defenders. And I think they're more worried about losing the ball and what happens if we lose the ball. I think if we had three really good defenders and as David says, proactive defenders that are good with the ball, I think our midfield and our forward players will feel more confident to go forward, knowing that they're safe at the back. But at the moment, I think whether it be in the back of their minds, I don't think they think they're safe at the back, and they're a bit more reluctant to make take a chance with that through ball, that sort of thing. That's why they seem to appear to be playing the safe ball all the time.
Yeah.
Of course, having a creative midfielder would help that, but you can't have it all. So
no, you can't. Mia, look, we've seen Diane make so many mistakes. Look, he's seen the mistake he made against Brentford last week. We cannot keep playing these players that genuinely let us down game after game after game after game after game. It's getting to the point of just, what's the point? Look,
I understand.
Hang on. Just want to add this with me. Who do you blame do you blame? You can blame. Well, can you blame Conte for picking him? Firstly, do you blame the recruitment that for keeping him there? Now there was a stat somewhere I read that the back three that started against Brentford was the same back three we had back when I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. Can you understand when the frustration me is coming out with our transfer policy?
Obviously, I do understand, and obviously with Dyer, he is literally Dyer by name and Dyer on the pitch. So obviously, I do get it. But with Conte, who has he got really to put in Dyer's place? So when Romero's not there, we put Tanganga, and look what happened. It's it's a bit of a at the moment we need to get somebody else. Literally, we do need to get somebody else. I was asked to name better defenders than him, and I named my children, my dogs, my mum, who's 70 years old next year. I named everyone, myself, my kids again, because literally I could do a better job. I'm 4'11", yeah, I could do a better job. And I most certainly would not kick the ball out like that. And I've never played proper football. Professional football, no. Football, obviously, playing mucking about, yeah. But I've never played professional football. But I tell you now, I would not kick the ball out like that. So he's useless. He's just literally like a chocolate teapot of a defender.
I think. Sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah, so I do feel like we need to replace him, and I don't think Conte's really got a lot of choice in that position. So I think that's part of the problem. And obviously that is down to recruitment. We do need to get somebody to replace him. That's 100% we do.
I mean, look, I was going through all the Spurs news today on Spurs News Now today, trying to get stuff prepared for the show tonight. And I saw these two sort of articles that jumped up. So I'll start with you, Mia, with one, and then Brad, I'll go with you with the other, if that's okay. Mia, this one here, Tottenham and Liverpool reportedly lead the race to sign Amrabat, the Moroccan player, who had a great World Cup, to be fair, valued at 40 million euro by Fiorentina next month. Now, this is according to report in Gazzetta dello Sport, which is a very popular sports newspaper in Italy, and I think very reliable for some of the news as well. As relayed by Sport Witness, that Tottenham are currently in pole position to sign Amrabat, along with Premier League rivals Liverpool. Look, should we be going for centre backs, Mia, or would you be happy that we could get a Cam in, or midfielder in January, or do you think we need to be looking at the back and the right wing back situation?
I think it's the defence and the right wing back for me. However, I believe that Skip might go. I think that was the rumour. Yeah. So if he goes, I suppose that's what they're looking at as a replacement. Yeah. Because if you look at our midfielders, they're all quite similar. So Amrabat is somebody who is a little bit different to what we have currently. So I think that's probably what they're thinking is, if that is what they're thinking is, that we're going to get rid of Skip, so we need someone else. But if Liverpool are in contention, we've got no chance. Of course he's going to go to Liverpool over us. Come on, let's be real. I'm not unrealistic. We can say we're in the race for him, but are we when it comes to a team like Liverpool?
Well, I've heard, Mia, that he prefers to come to Spurs. That's really? That's what I read somewhere, that Tottenham is his destination he wants to go to.
Maybe it's too cold up north for him.
Maybe Morocco. So
Morocco's beautiful.
Where's the Moroccan population in England? Maybe it's in London. So
also Morocco is warm, isn't it? So they're not going to be used to very cold weather. And up north can be very, very cold compared to down here.
I just want to say, Brad, very, very sorry to Alice. He did ask a question and I forgot all about it. I'm just going to bring it up now, guys, before we go back on the transfer. I'll start with you, Brad, and then you, Mia. What is your predicted back three for tomorrow? Now, we have got two separate lineups that I found today, very different lineups. But, Brad, what would your back three be?
I noticed one of your banners is about Alistair Gold, who I watched today. Yeah. And I don't want to do what the aggregators do, that take something he said and make it into the big thing.
Yeah.
But he has a hunch, which is not backed up by anything. He has a hunch that Dyer might not play tomorrow. So if that's the case, you could see Lenglet at centre half, Romero on one side, and Davis on the other side.
Yeah.
But if Dyer does play, I imagine it would be Dyer in the middle, Romero and Lenglet on the left. I'd say, but yeah, it's interesting to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah,
really,
that's true. And you, Mia, who do you think with the back three tomorrow?
I think he will pick Dyer, but I think it'd be Romero, Dyer, Longley as well. Actually,
yeah.
If I'm completely honest, I do think that's what he's going to pick. Although I would prefer it not to be. I prefer it to be because Longley could play in. It could be Romero, Longley, Davies, couldn't it?
It could, yeah, it could.
Is that another player we should? We'll get to Wayne Bond, the super chat now. Big up, Wayne, and thank you so much for sending the super chat. And guys, let's see where we go with this. Is that if we somehow sign Amrabat, who then who leaves? Who wants to take this first? Mia, do you want to go first and then you, Brad? Or Brad, do you want to go first then you, Mia?
I would, if Amrabat signs, I'd say one of our central midfielders would be off. But I think it'd be a question of something like Papa Sarr going on loan or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit... Amrabat was absolutely magnificent during the World Cup, but we've seen a lot of players be brilliant during the World Cup and not do anything else.
Yeah.
We are overstocked with our central midfield at the moment. I'm not saying he's any better or any worse than what we've got. And I wouldn't say no if we signed him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just have a little question mark over. Yeah, a lot of players do play well in the World Cup and then don't do it. And we do have a lot of players in that area. So someone, as Wayne said, someone would have to go. And he ain't. It's not going to be Højbjerg, Bentancur, or Basuma. It's probably not going to be Skip because he seems to like Skip, and Skip's had injury problems. And there's no point in sending Skip on loan. He's been on loan, came back a professional football, a decent player. So I would say it'd be Papa Sarr. If Papa Sarr goes on loan, then maybe they might get Amrabat in. But I don't know. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I just have a thing about if it was one of the players that had a brilliant World Cup who's in a different position, like McAllister or one of those players, for instance, then I'd be fully for it. But if it's a player that we're already well stocked, then I'm not so sure.
No, Mia. I mean, can I just twist it around for you, Mia? Look, if he was to come in and Skip and Papa Sarr, both somebody put in the Paddy Harnett, big up Paddy, and I will bring up his comment, then I bring Wayne Bond the super chat back up. He just said Skip and Sarr out on loan if he does sign. But to be honest, I would not be excited if he did sign. Look, it's just the point now where we're looking in the wrong parts of the team here. But if he does sign, would you put Skip and Sarr out on loan?
I'd probably sell Skip. I think that Skip's probably somebody, although he obviously the problem we've got as well is the English quota. Yeah. So that's obviously another problem. Obviously he could go on loan. Yeah, him and Papa Sarr would probably be the ones I would say will be out because we are overstocked in that position. And if we're going to get someone in, then I think a couple of them need to go, not just one, because then we are just going to be it'd be way too many in that position. If one of them can play in defence, though, that'd be all right because we could put them instead of Dyer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we'll try anything. We'll even try Ellie in defence. If Ellie wants to get her boots and kit, we'll put Ellie in the central defence if she would do that. Anyone? Mia, do you want to do it? Brad? Get your boots. You're playing tomorrow. We've got Dave Clark here. Thank you, Wayne Bonner, for the super chat. Really appreciate it, and we all do. So thank you so much. And please, if you do want to be like Wayne Bonner, do get your super chats in and put a question to the panel, and we will discuss it. And also, if you're there, pick up your memberships as well. It really does help. David Clark says, so if you haven't got much money to spend, then why would we spend it on Amrabat when it's a centre-back and a right-back that we need? Right, I want my point on this first, and then whoever wants to go next. This we've only got 30 million euro to spend is a load of bullshit. Now, come on, let's be fair. Let's call the spade a spade. It's bullshit. We have got money to spend. If Conte was to walk into Daniel Levy's office and Daniel Levy said to him, Antonio, sorry, you've only got 30 million to spend plus transfer, wherever we make and transfer sales. Are you happy with that? He'd be out the door running down Tottenham High Road as quick as he slipped back to Italy, as quick as his legs could do him. He walked out and into Milan when there wasn't much money to spend. So why would he stay in January for 30 million plus what we can make up in transfers. I think it's another false story against Tottenham, and I think it's a load of bullshit. Perfectly honest. I'll let Mia. What do you? I'll go to Mia, then you, Brad. Yeah. What do you say? Do you agree with me, Mia, or do you think it's true? Or do you agree with David Clark here?
Do you know what? Like, we'll never actually 100% know. So, like, the thing is, we can speculate all we like. The thing is, it will, to me, my version of us backing Conte isn't to do with how much we spend. It's about getting the correct players in the correct positions that Conte wants. So that's, for me, is important. So I don't know why people get so worried about the money, because at the end of the day, there have been plenty of players that have got quality, that have turned into brilliant players that weren't bought for a lot of money. We have had examples of players that we have bought. How much did we pay for Gareth Bale? And look what he turned into. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many people, there's so many players that do that. So it's about looking at their vision to see if they are good players. If we think they've got quality and bringing them in, that's important to me. And what Conte wants is important to me. So this whole money thing is just, to me, it's silly to worry about that. It's not my money. So if they spend money, I want them to spend money correctly, not spend over money on rubbish, because that's the case sometimes.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Very quickly, Brad, sorry. I just want to welcome in Robin Wolfman, who I haven't seen in the chat before. Big up, Robin. Thank you for joining us. Daniel Field as well. Big up, Daniel. I think that's Daddy Hoybier. If it is, big up. Merry Christmas to you, sir. And then, sorry, Brad. Yeah. So do you want to?
Well, I was going to say, as Mia was saying, no one knows what money we've got to spend unless, the company I used to work for, I used to, I wasn't in charge of the actual money, but I used to know what all of our bank accounts had in it. And I could have gone to someone in the street or some news report and say, guess what? We've got this much money in our bank account, and then they can make a story on it.
Yeah.
So unless someone's done that at the club, someone who knows what money we've got in our bank accounts, then who knows? No one knows how much money we got. What we do know is there should be 50 million to draw down. We do know that. And then you could look at, say, 20 or 30 million for London Bell if we sell him. If we sell Emerson, that's another 20 million. So all this sort of, we've got this much money to spend. No one really knows. So we just have to wait and see, really. But
look, this thing here, David Clark says, Joe Lewis, Traverstock Group, which he owns. Joe is making $34 million a month, but he has not spending 1 cent on Spurs.
Well, exactly.
But the point. Can I just make a point here on you two, and then you can come in? Then look, Man United, the Glazers didn't spend their own money; they spent other people's money. You've got Man City. That I think Sean said they got shell corporations, shell companies. That they spend, they don't actually spend their own money, and Tottenham's the same. Tottenham use the money they raise from the NFL, whatever they make of whatever, and they don't actually spend their own money. I don't think owners spend their own money on players. It's what they make up during the year, player sales and ever. Joe Lewis does not control. I think he's given the control over to his lawyer, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so, they've got some sort of arrangement.
So
probably
saying it's Joe Lewis is saying he's not put nothing in.
Well, it doesn't matter how rich Joe Lewis is. He could be, he could have Elon Musk's money. Well, Elon Musk has lost a bit of money lately, but if he don't want to put his own money in, then then he won't. The difference being with Man City and Abramovich at Chelsea and now with Newcastle is that their owners have put their own money into it.
Yeah, but what Abramovich did when he left, he lost millions of pounds. Yeah. He stepped away and let them have millions of pounds because that's what he obviously can afford to do. When you have a business, Brad, when you have a business, anybody has a business, we all know it needs to be somewhat sustainable because otherwise it is pointless. If you keep putting money into it, you're going to go broke. That's how you go broke. If you put too much money into something, you're going to go broke. So what they do is they keep it so it's sustainable. But people don't seem to understand the wages come out of that money. Loads of other parts of the club come out of that money that we obviously make as well. It isn't exclusively set aside just to buy players because we've got a whole big club to run and paying staff. We have to pay staff. So, like, the fact is that you can't just expect people to put their own money when it could be money that, like I said to you before, if they put money in and then they lose that money, they put more money in and lose money, then more. That's not how business works. You're
But
not
I'm
a
not.
good
No,
business
I
person if
think
you do
I think you
that.
misunderstand me. What I meant is that he. I'm not saying he should put his own money in. It's just that he doesn't. Whereas the owners of Man City and Newcastle and
They
recently
do
Chelsea
it through,
did.
but they
And
do it
that's
because they do
different.
it dodgy.
And I've
But
just
they
let
do
one
it
talk
proper
at a time
dodgy.
here.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
They
But
do it proper dodgy, man.
Yeah.
They don't. City do it in a very immoral kind of
Yeah,
way where
yeah.
they got these shell companies to
Mm.
put money into it. So they don't do it. So our business, we do it the right way. We do it the right way. We don't do it the wrong way.
I just want to say big up to Robin. He says he's an Arsenal fan from India, hates Spurs, but finds Spurs discussion quite fun. We find you lot quite fun as well because we finished above you the last so many years. I'm hoping during North London being white, but look, if you want to stay in New Year's Eve and watch the Spurs channel, welcome. We will convert you.
No offense, Robin, but that is quite sad. I mean, I feel sad myself. We're all, New Year's Eve, and we're on a. At least it's our own club. You're stuck in on New Year's Eve watching someone else's club. So
yeah, I played you.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Tottenham must be in your head, right? That's all I'm going to say on that. And on the 15th, you're going to get a right beat and a white, aren't I?
Excuse me, guys.
Mia, can I just start with you in this? Spurs could land Marcus Edwards for 26 million. That's not we got a percentage deal on that, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I have actually brought this up, and it is in the news. So that's something, Adrian, we will be going through soon. And also, David Clark put here, there isn't 50 million to draw. We spent 127 million net in the last window, which includes Romero's 45 million. I don't know, David. I wouldn't be too sure. I think there is 50. Has to be drawn by tonight. Now, we haven't had the figures yet, Mia and Brad, for the financial year. Now, I spoke to Brad earlier about this, didn't we? We had a slight conversation about this, Mia. Look, Mia, do you think there's something into the report, the financial reports not being released? Like, example, that there could be a buyer coming in that we don't know about? Or what do you think the delay is for the financial reports not being out?
Who knows? Again, like, we're all going to guess and say, well, it's because of bad reasons and that's why, because obviously people got agendas, but we just don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't know why people get so worked up about it, because, like, at the end of the day, like I said, the way that we run the business is run very strictly in a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Sorry. Hold on. Can you go to Brad a sec? Sorry.
Yeah.
One of the boys
Go on, Brad. Go on.
Yeah, as we said earlier, it's interesting. But again, it could mean all sorts of things. It could mean, one, we've got loads of money to spend, but we don't want other clubs to know that because they'll put the prices up. It could mean, two, we've got no money to spend and they don't want the fan base to know. Or it could mean that we're about to sell and they're checking the books, blah, 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 blah. It could mean anything. I do find it interesting, though, that we haven't released our financial figures. But it could be, it could be anything. Maybe the photocopy is jammed. I don't know. It could be anything. Well, they haven't released it. But it is interesting. But as Mia says, maybe we're making too much of it, So, and there will be a lot of people. Let's face it, there'll be a lot of people with a fine tooth comb going through their reports, their annual reports when it comes out. So maybe they're just making totally sure that it's all correct. Look, I've worked for a company, as I said. The end of year reports, it takes an awful lot of work, to get them ready and to get them out. So, although if it's in a certain financial year, I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat, but do you have to get your financial reports out by a certain time, or is that just for a public limited company? I don't know.
Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Self on mute. That's good. That was very good, wasn't it? Thank God it's New Year's Eve. Is the end of the tax year is 31st of January, isn't that? Or is that something completely different? Am I getting that wrong?
Well, they said a year, didn't they? But it could mean financial year. It could mean taxation year. It could mean calendar. We don't know. We don't know.
Paddy Harnett put here, Mia. please, people need to understand that the club had said 150 million was for other stuff as well as transfers. Look, we spent money on the ladies' team, which you and Ellie went over, Mia. I think there's other bits and pieces that when they signed the contract to build a new stadium that they have to do in the Tottenham area as well. So, do you what do you say to Panahani? I mean, he is right in what he's saying here, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And like I said before, people don't understand when they give these players, it's a package because they have to factor in the fact they have to pay their wages. So they have to pay their wages as well. It isn't just you buy a player, you have to factor in wages and any bonuses that they might get as well. So obviously there's a lot of things to factor in. I think people are very much black and white with it. And I don't think it is just black and white because nothing in life is just black and white. And we all know that in our day-to-day lives, not everything is just black and white. There are many grey areas and there's many factors to a lot of different things. And I feel like there's a lot of factors coming in to different things or parts of Tottenham, but people don't want to understand that. They just want to point the finger at one thing, which I don't think is right because I feel like there are many factors. So.
Yeah. I mean, Adrian Sockers, but here, Brad, I should have just left it to the chat tonight to work on the show. Just leave it to there's some great questions coming in. Please remember that 30 to 50 million transfer fund could buy you 3 players with a 10 million down payment and the rest in installments. He's actually right there.
Yeah, he is actually. And we all seem to get het up in, we've got 150 million to spend, but yeah, he's totally right. And I think that's been the reason why we haven't completed some transfers in the past because they've been arguing over what the instalment should be. We want to pay over 4 years. They want over 3 years or whatever it might be. So it's difficult. We don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, we don't know.
We're reliant on people in the press that Alistair Gold was saying today that he's been talking to so many people recently, and he'll only if he gets a consensus of opinions, then he'll release that. He'll say that's what he will not go on what one person has said. So. So yeah,
that's the other thing. People have these in the nose where they go, I know someone from the club. Well, that's just one person. And how do you know that it hasn't gone through one person, another person? So the story's slightly adjusted every single time. Because we used to play that game of kids, right? You used to whisper in one person's ear and then see if the person at the end of the row gets the exact same message, remember? And that's what happens, I feel, a lot.
Yeah. Mia, I know you have to pop off. Listen, thank you for coming on. If you can do the other thing for me in the back, I would appreciate it. And I'll give you a quick call after the show. But thank you for everything you've done this year on THC to the diet, and Happy New Year to you and the boys. And I have a lovely evening, and I'll speak to you later.
I'll speak to you all very soon. Good health to everybody, and I hope everybody's new year next year is a good one.
Yeah, and Mia will be back when Ellie's lady show is back. So Mia and Ellie.
Also, can I do? I've got 4 more until I get to 60 for my channel. Spurs Between the Lines. So if 4 more people could please just subscribe, that would make the end of my year very happy.
Yeah,
I've only got a couple more hours.
Look, I said yesterday, let's get Mia to 60 by New Year's Day. We've nearly done it, so let's do it. Mia, thank you so much indeed.
No problem. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Right. Transfer fees, Andrew Sarkis said, transfer fees are usually paid with an additional down payment and spread over the length of players' contracts, which is true. Paddy Harnett puts in, I actually sort of agree with Paddy what he's saying. And Paddy said something in Twitter the other day that some of these people that are saying leaving out still go to the games and still pay their season tickets, still go into the place. Now, some don't, some do. And I think the people that do go into games with their season tickets and still want Levy and Enoch out should actually hand over their season tickets if they're that passionate about wanting the owners out, instead of paying what they pay for a season. Where did they think that money's going? It is going to
I don't actually agree with that. I pay my season ticket to see Tottenham Hotspur Football Club play. Yeah. And I guess by paying my season ticket, it also gives me the right to not only criticise players or praise players, it gives me the right to criticise the owners or praise the owners. So I don't agree with that.
It wasn't something I was just trying to make a point. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I respect everyone's opinion, but I was just trying to make a point. Paddy says, bottom line is people want Enoch out will pick and choose what they want to get out and will ignore the rest in the hope it gathers pace. Like I said in the chat today, it needs to be balanced. And that's the point it does, Brad. There's argument between the fan base has to be balanced because you can't have one person demanding other people do this. I mean, if I go to a Spurs game over from Ireland, like to the AC Milan game in February, it's going to be my one game of this season. So I will want to go to the club shop and buy something while I'm over there. So it doesn't make me, unless the fans say you or me, because I've been supporting Tottenham for 40-something years now, same as you. So, you know, I agree what Paddy Harnett says. It has to be balanced, Brad. It has to be balanced that everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to say where they're from. It doesn't matter one side or the other. It has to be balanced. But big up Paddy as well. Big up Paddy and Happy New Year to you and the family. David Clark, Brad, I'll let you answer this one. Joe Lewis hasn't given up his power of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He's handed over to Lewis control of his family if his family trusts. So in the event of him passing away, it's sorted before true. That occurs.
Yeah, it's just everyone was when it was happening. Everyone was going, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" But no, it's just a financial legal thing. Let's face it, Joe Lewis is 85, and it's just it's so if he was to die, then it's all the legal stuff's been done. So they know what's going to happen. It's like anybody's will, effectively.
It is.
But so that's totally true.
Well, look, this I do agree with. They have spent the players badly. Look, you can lay the door at Hitchin. Some of the players he bought we wasted the bail money, and you would agree with me on that, Brad. We really did waste the bail money. The only two players, who would you? Ericsson was the only one out of that. So
you could argue Lamella, but we didn't
Lamella,
do very well. Although again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Because
it is.
At the time, I remember getting super excited. Oh, we signed another one. We signed 7 players. Wow. It obviously didn't turn out to be that way,
No,
but it's that comes down to the general running of the club on the football side, which I believe that's what Paratici's been brought in to do. So to run the whole scouting network, the whole youth net, the whole thing, so that we don't waste money, and the money that we do spend, we spend well. The only thing on this balance about Levy in or Levy out, as I've said many times before, to me it's just the bartering he has to do to squeeze that last bit of a deal has meant that we've missed out on some players. If we'd have put the extra money in, we would have got, and then it could have made an improvement in the team, which would have created the money that we spent on that player. So
look, hindsight says a great thing. We could say one thing, we should have done this, we shouldn't have done that. Look, we haven't, and we're in the situation that we're in, which is ridiculous. Spurs have 42,000 season ticket holders, 8,000 corporate, 3,000 tickets for away fans. That's 3,000 out of 62,850. That leaves 9,850 sell to one Hotspur members. Wow, didn't realise that. That's actually good.
It's modern life, isn't it? Basically?
Yeah, it is modern life. It is.
Although I have to say, my friend Steve, big up Steve if you're watching. He is a One Hotspur member plus. He doesn't miss many games. He has to be, make sure he applies for the ticket, when they go out. But he doesn't miss that many games. So he's on the One Hotspur member plus. So for whatever it is, £40 or £50. Oh no, don't need even that.
To get mine, it got mine. I got mine on the Black Friday thing for the rest of the season. Paddy Harnett says, when I say a balance, I mean, for example, today fans were on about Salvia Park not winning the league under Enoch's tenure, but what they left out was they won 6 or 7 cups in that period. Do you know what? I actually saw that article, Paddy, and I actually looked, and it was very good what you said. Look, Brad, on the pitch, a kick here or a kick there. Do you know what I mean? In 2009, if we won the penalty shootout, we would have retained the League Cup. That dodgy penalty decision in the Champions League final, if that wasn't given, that we could have won that competition. Do you know what I mean? Not everything should be labelled at Levy and Enoch. They can't take the blame for Dyer's bad pass, like against Brentford. It's not that. They can't be blamed for that. They can be blamed for some things. But I always like to balance out by saying, Look on the Scholar. We were successful,
Mm.
but we nearly went out of business. The club nearly closed its doors.
Mm.
So would you rather a Scholar chairman to win trophies and get the players that we all want, but nearly go bust? Or would you rather Levy, who's made us sustainable for the first time properly in a long time, and do it right? I mean, I know people are going to say they're going to want Scholar, the Scholar as owner, and win the trophies.
But you can be balanced in that as well.
Yeah.
Again, you can argue that, well, Enoch could have paid the extra money for certain players that wouldn't have broken the club.
Yeah.
And I don't for 1 minute. When you say that Hernandez is going to go for 120 million, we haven't got 120 million to spend one player. That is for your Man Cities and your Chelseas that have got owners that put their money in and they're willing to spend hundreds of millions of pounds.
Yeah.
We won't do that, but we're not poor.
No.
We've had the stadium. Okay, we had the COVID situation. We've had the stadium now for 2 or 3 seasons. I heard food and drink brings in £1 million a game. So, over a season, that's a player, effectively, a semi-decent player. So, we're not poor. And I think it comes down to having a little bit of risk. Just trying. But again, I keep saying this, we're run by an investment company. They ain't going to be taking risks. When you put your money into your pension fund, they give you that, how do you want to handle your funds? Do you want us to be really extravagant and sort of either really take risks, or do you want us to put it into a nice fund that will grow, but it's quite safe? We all go for the safe option. Certainly my age do. So the investment company, they're not going to take massive risks.
No.
With the money.
I was talking, Brad, to a Man United fan who hasn't been to Old Trafford since the Glazers took over.
Oh, wow.
And he refused to go. And I know there's thousands of them have done the same. Even set up a protest club, about the Glazers. So do you know what I mean? I'm very much on the. I'm not Levy out and I'm not Levy in. I'm Conte in. I just want Conte to be backed in the transfer window, and let's go and win the trophy this season, and let's unite as one fan base and go back to how we were. Bill Nick could be looking down at us now and just shaking his head and saying, "What's happened?" No, seriously, what's happened to the team to the club I built? And I swear to God, him and Danny Blanchflower and Jimmy Greaves and Arthur Rowe, all them great managers of the past would be looking down at us thinking, "What the hell has happened to our club, to the club that I built?"
The other thing is not only do you have to back your manager, you also have to give him time. And I think that's been our problem with Enoch as well. It's all very well saying we haven't put the money in, but also we've sacked a lot of managers.
Yeah, I know.
And you look at Arsenal at the moment, and you could argue that and I think I was listening to Stell tonight, and he was saying that they've backed him and they've given him time, and we all laughed at him, but now he seems to have built a team that at the moment are running away with the title. And we all think they're going to fall. I'm not so sure now. The more and more it goes on, I'm not so sure. So,
I
look. They backed him, and they let him do what he wanted to do. And
for me, I'm not one way or the other. I just want my club to do well. And
let's no use. Look, I say to anyone out there listening, don't worry about Arsenal. We can't control what they do, other than when we play them.
Yeah, and I think we'll beat them that day. I think the crowd will get behind it, and I think we'll win that North London derby. I just want to go into a few things here, Brad. We won't be going long for much longer, another 20 minutes or so. Football London has revealed that Resistus Annus to Gold, right? Football.London has revealed that the 2 priority signs for Antonio Conte is an attacking player and a right wing back. The priority next month is expected to purely about finding quality additions while maintaining the current size of the squad. It is explained that the Italian is keen on signing another attacker. Players due to Lucas Moura injury problems and Brian Hill expected to be loaned out. Look, I'd rather Brian Hill stay and be given a chance in the team because I think there's a decent play to come out of him. And when he has come on, he's done very well, like the game against, Marseille?
Yeah.
He was a little dynamite.
I think there's a player there. But the problem is that if we do get another attacking player in, then Brian Hill's not going to get a game, is he? So, we've seen that when Lucas Moura was fit. Lucas Moura would come on before Brian Hill. So yeah, I think that I saw that Aston goal thing today, and it's you look at the Brentford game. Okay, we got Richarlison's out injured at the moment, but you look at that game. It's like who's on the bench that was an attacking option? It's Brian Hill. That was it. You need more on your bench to come on and change a game attacking wise. So yeah, that could be. And also Lucas Moura, I think he's coming to the end of his contract, isn't he? So it's likely that he'll go at the end of the summer anyway, or end of the season. So I think that they need to think about getting someone in now because one, they haven't got the players, and two, they're going to lose Lucas Moura probably anyway. So so I think that'll be. Well, we keep reading that Conte's happy with his centre back, so I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but if he's happy,
I go and I think that was a bad dream we had, Brad. To be fair, now if you want to watch the game tomorrow, I am going to do a watch along. I don't know if I'll be doing it on my own or we're doing it with Brad, maybe joining me, or somebody will be joining me, and we will have Ellie from the stadium, so she'll be popping in and out. The game against Aston Villa is a 2:00 kickoff in the UK and a 9:00 kickoff Eastern time. I think that's America, and I think IST is actually Canadian. I'm not sure. It's a 7:30 kickoff in the evening, where you can watch it. The channel live streams in USA on Peacock, UK, in England and Ireland. It's on Sky Sports Premier League, Sky Sports Main Event, and Sky Ultra, and then extra Indian Star Sports selected for Star Sports 1. The team news, we've got a bit of news on that. Richarlison is still a few weeks away of action with a hamstring injury. Bentancur is also unavailable with a groin injury, while Lucas Moura is a long-term absentee. And we've also got, however, Jed Spence should be available selection along with Chris Romero, who has returned after his World Cup. Now, we were talking about teams earlier, and people were putting in who's going to be the back three, and I've got two different lineups here. Now, big up David Clark. He says 4-2 to Villa, 2 to Kane, 2 to Keeler, 1 to Perry. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Now, this is the one team that I found. Let me take that off for you, Brad. There, Luis in goal, Longley, Dyer, Romero, Perisic, Højbjerg, Bissouma, Doherty, and then Son, Kulusevski, and Kane. But Alistair Gold, when I was going through, has picked out another team. So let me just get that down. I'll have this running at the bottom of the screen for everyone. And this is his team. It's Luis, Romero, Longley, Davis, Doherty, Bissouma, Højbjerg, Perisic, Kulusevski, Kane, and Son. So really...
Eric Drive here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So what team do you think we'll be able to see tomorrow? The one on the screen or the one on the banner? And everyone, put your thoughts in this. Well, which team do you think?
I think it'll be the one on the screen, actually.
Yeah.
I do get what the thinking is behind Dyer being given a rest.
Yeah.
Although he only played 30 minutes in the World Cup, didn't he? So I'm sure he's fully rested. But it's not so much the physical rest, but maybe the mental rest. What I was going to say earlier was, I think Dyer needs to just concentrate on the basics more.
Yeah.
I noticed if you watch that, I only saw it once, so I haven't played it back. As the ball's coming down towards him, he's looking to where he wants to put the ball. And then before, and he's looking and, too late. And so if he just concentrates on, hitting the ball. And he did a couple of those long through passes, didn't he, against Brentford that went nowhere. I think one went off for a goal kick. And it's like, Eric, if you're making mistakes, just get down to the basics. So I think that might be part of it. But
personally, for me, Brad, I think it'd be the one going across the bottom of the screen. I don't think the one that's up next to you and me will look. I think it will be Longley and Davis in the back three, and the rest of the team will be the same. Look, we got Royale looking at he's on the way out the club. It is essential to get a right wing back in this window, even if it's a loan deal. And also another centre back. Look, what do you make of Conte's comments in that interview, Brad? I've never actually got round to asking you this. And do you think his team selection tomorrow was sort of, he will try to make a point to Paratici? Look, this is what I need desperately. Do you think he might do that tomorrow?
Possibly. Although to be fair, I don't think he has to make a point to Paratici by playing a certain team. He obviously talks to Paratici a lot, so I'm sure it hasn't escaped his attention that he might not be happy with some players. But as I said before, Conte doesn't throw players under the bus, so he might think personally this player isn't good enough. But yeah, I'm sure Paratici is well aware of what he's looking for. This is why I can't understand the Jed Spence situation, because Jed Spence is exactly what he looks for in a wing back. Strength, skill on the ball, speed, height. It's exactly what he wants. But again, the rotation, he didn't rotate enough. He didn't rotate enough, and Spence didn't really get a chance. So it's and again, send him out on loan. Well, only for the poor bugger to get some game time, But yeah, it just doesn't seem to make sense. But hey, look, we pay Conte the big bucks to make us a winning team. So we everyone goes trusting Conte. Well, you got to trust him if he wants to not play Jed Spence. So
that's it, and that's another thing. I mean, out of that team selection, the one at the top, and Anasta goes one who he said be playing tomorrow. I just wish Spence was playing on instead of.
I'd love to see. I really will.
I really would, but as we know, Romero has said that. We know that not Romero. What's his name? Romero. The fella that does the Twitter for the transfers. Can't think of his name at the moment. Said that Conte didn't want Spence. So who knows?
Well, he just said that. I mean, again, it's easy to put words into Conte's mouth, but he just said it was a club buy.
Yeah.
But then he went on to say obviously it wasn't him that did it, but a club buy could be Paratici. Paratici's the club.
Yeah.
So, and I think Paratici had watched Spence playing for Forest in the League Cup games against Arsenal on that. And so, a club buy, but he still said that he's got a good future ahead of him. So,
That's
the irony being is that, and I don't want to bring the Pochettino situation up, but the irony being is that you imagine that if Pochettino was here, Pochettino would definitely play him.
Do you know what? You are right. You actually are right on that. Look, another thing as well in that lineup, and I bring it up again, Brad, if we bring it up, is Son. Now, what does Son look for me? Son's in a rot. We all know that. So I would actually not drop him, but I'd do what we did when we played Leicester. Put him on the bench, bring him on with after the hour mark. What did he do? He scored a hat-trick. Now, I think Sean said it, big up Sean if you're watching, Happy New Year to your brother. He said brilliantly last night, he was on the stream, he said, we've done that, we won't do it again. But do you think Conte should do that again? Put him on the bench.
He hasn't got a lot of options, has he? Because we haven't got Richarlison, and he doesn't want to play Brian Hill and Morris out as well. So he has effectively got to play Son tomorrow. I think Son's just got to keep doing what he does, and it will take. I thought the Leicester game was, that's the old Son. The old Son on his right foot, curling it into the top corner. Yeah, I thought Son looked a lot better in the first half against Brentford. He was running at players a lot more. Again, it was the final ball that let him down, but he looked a bit more like his old self.
Yeah.
Ironically, Kane was nowhere to be seen in the first half, but then Kane played well in the second half, and Son sort of dropped out. But he's just got to, you don't suddenly become a bad player overnight. Yeah, you have like a form and that, but it's he just needs to, again, as I said about earlier about getting that bit of luck where you get the early goal. Gets the ball, shoots, it goes in. Yeah. Recent weeks it might have gone wide or hit the post. It goes in. Suddenly his confidence rises, the team's confidence rises, and you're back to the old Son. I mean, the Son Kane partnership that was so brilliant. Certainly in the season where there were no fans in the ground, was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was.
We just haven't seen it this season. But hey, that could click because suddenly that could suddenly start working again. So
there is an argument, Brad, and I've heard people saying this, that people have actually worked Sonny out. And big up Terry White, big up everyone. Happy New Year. Terry. And also, talk of the devil, you mention his name. Where is he? Where's he gone in the chat? Where has he gone? You mention the name, and the man himself is here. Big up, Sean. And please get over to Sean's Spurs Talk Show. Get your likes. Get your
I hope, Sean, I hope you're doing what you love doing with the person you love doing it with.
Yeah, and Sean, I'll tell you one thing. I want to say something special about this man, and there's a few I will say at the end as well. But Sean is one of the nicest people in the Spurs community. I've had many a long conversation with Shawnee, and he really is a proper gentleman. And Sean, I look forward to seeing you at the AC Milan game, brother.
I'll tell you a story about Sean, and he won't mind me saying this. I was walking down the high road towards, I think it's a West Ham game, and I walked past this delicatessen, and I heard this laugh, and I thought, that's Sean. And I looked in, and it was Sean in there buying a packet of cigarettes or whatever.
He's got the most infectious laugh guy, and he's such a lovely man as well. So big up, Sean.
Big up, Sean.
Hope you have a lovely evening. Carl Simpson says you cannot underestimate how much hard work it is to play in a mask like that. That's vision. That's actually very true.
It is actually,
extremely true. And then, that's it. Yeah. Look, son. Look, for me, I actually agree with Carl Simpson says that it is hard to play. He didn't have a great World Cup.
Apart from that one moment.
One moment, yeah.
which was probably the best moment he could have had for South Korea when he set that goal.
Yeah. And we've got Rob Willis here. He's saying hi to Sean, and Derek Hutchison are saying you to Sean. Well, look, Brad, we're coming near enough to the end of the show now. I think there's one more question I want to ask you. Look, we are going to do it. The transfer window opens in 2.5 hours. Do you know, with the transfer window opening, and please everyone get your thoughts on this in the chat as well. What can we hope for? Look, I want a window where we get a right wing back and a centre back. I think then to keep Conte happy, to re-energize the squad. I think the team needs re-energizing, like with Romero and Kulusevski last January. That then gives us the kick we needed to get up to top four. I think we need to do the same this window. I trust Paratici, and I think he will get it right. So I'm hoping for a right wing back and a centre back. What are you hoping for, Sean? Brad, sorry.
I'm
really
hoping for a right wing back, or that he decides to play Spence. I think we do need an attacking player because of the lack of on the bench. But I just hope we get two players or one. Last season, Bentancur and Kulusevski changed our season.
Yeah. And
that's what I'm hoping for in this transfer window, that we get a couple of players that do exactly the same, that we're all position they play in, that what those two players did. So I still live in hope, which obviously will go down and down and down as January goes on. But let's hope that everyone's been speculating about what's going on, what's happening, whatsoever. And I understand it all. And as I said to you earlier, I know Twitter shouldn't be used as a barometer, but there is an awful lot of anti-ENIC, anti-Levy feeling on Twitter at the moment, more so than I've ever seen. So there is an underswell. It's beginning to bubble at the moment. So they've really got to play it right.
I've always said it. This transfer window is probably the most important transfer window in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Rob Wallace is asking. Adrian said 2 players in January. Happy New Year to all. Yeah, that's what we want as well. And then Rob Wallace said, "Is it true we only have 30 million to spend, or was it a clickbait?" Look, I think it's bullshit. Yeah. I think we've got more than 30 million to spend.
At the end of the day, Rob, no one knows, but I agree with Dermot. I don't think it's true.
Look. You look at where he left Inter Milan, there wasn't a lot of money to spend. Are you telling me Levy said to Conte, right, you've only got 30 million to spend, he'd be out the door. He'd be saying, right, I'm gone. I resign. So I don't believe it. I think it was just somebody looking to make news on Tottenham yet again. Terry White's put 2 quality players brought in, some deadwood sold would be a terrific window. Yeah, that's what we want. Philip there, big up Philip Brady says, hi,
Philip. Happy New Year, Philip.
Sorry to miss the show tonight. 3 points tomorrow, a must. Yeah, it is, Philip. And look, I hope you get well soon, Philip. Philip's not feeling too well.
I'll get well soon, Philip.
So get well soon, and we need you back, the Godfather. We need the Godfather back to get his excellent points over. And Paddy Hunnett put Brad is right there. A lot that would have been on the fence jumping off. All I would say is key thing is people respect both sides. And that's what it is at the end of the day. You have to appreciate, but I will say the same thing I've always said, be careful what you wish for. Because we could get another owner in and he could be twice as bad what ENIC and Levy have been. So be careful what you wish for, but you respect other people's opinions, and this is what this channel is all about: respecting other opinions. David Clark says young players at cheap fees. Conte has already admitted that. Well, look, we don't know. Everyone's saying everything. He may have said something at a press conference, but we don't know. All we know is at the end of January, when that window shuts, then we can see what happened. All this before the window opens, it's ridiculous. I don't think you can. We need a centre back, right wing back, and James Maddison. I would actually agree with them too, Derek, and go for McAllister instead of James Maddison.
I don't think Maddison or McAllister is going to happen. Nice it will be, but I can't see it, to be honest.
Well, Brad, listen, thank you so much for coming on, sir. And thank you. You've popped on a few times. Before we get your channel, give your channel a plug as well. Listen, I want to thank everybody on behalf of myself, Philip, Ellie, and Izan, and Mia, for all the support you've given us this year. We've had one hell of a year on the channel. We've got to 1,000. We're now on the march to 2,000. So let's hit 2K next year. And I also want to thank a few people as well. I want to thank David Harris, Jack Kinnicky, and Sean Butler, because them three are really good friends, and yourself, Brad, as well, and Mia.
Yeah, definitely, totally agree with that.
If I would like to thank them three, because they've really been good friends, and when I've really needed friends, they've been there. So to you three, I want to get my personal thanks to the three of you. Also to all the subscribers who's liked us on YouTube, our Twitter followers. We've got so much coming up next year. It's unreal. We've got the Lady Show rebranded. We're going to start putting podcasts onto Spotify as well. So if you can't watch us, if you're at the gym or going for a walk, we'll be able to listen to us on Spotify from the new year. And we'll be back with loads of shows next week. We've got 2 watch-alongs. We've got pre-match for the Palace game, pre-match, post-match for the FA Cup game, and then we've got the build-up to the big North London derby. We've got Elias here saying, I want to thank Dermot. He's always tolerated my trolling. Yeah, to the point. To the point. Be nice, Elias. Derek Hutchinson, Happy New Year, guys. Have a good one. Great show, guys. Thank you, Terry Wright, and also Derek. Some fun. Carl
Happy
Simpson.
New Year, Carl. Happy New Year, everybody.
Listen, Brad, do you want to give your channel a plug on what people can find coming up in 2023 for you?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you in the chat do know, but anyway, I've got a music channel called Blue Sofa Songs, which is just basically me, my own songs I've written, and now I'm using music software, so I'm able to do more than one track, and actually put things in like backing vocals and the drum track, all that sort of wonderful stuff. So the songs, in my opinion, are improving. I didn't put a new song out this week. It's an old song, the very first song I did on YouTube, for that matter. And I've done a new version of it using DAW software, and I've changed it around slightly. And there's even a key change in it for all you musicians out there. So hopefully you'll like it. And also, I want to give a huge thanks to all the people that looked at my Christmas song and gave it a view and liking that, because it's now become the second most viewed song I've put up there. The first song I ever did had the most views, but I have a feeling that was a bit of a novelty factor. You know, a lot of people went, "Oh, let's have a look at this." Nah, you know. So I'd like to say thank you very much that's done that. And yeah, if you haven't already, please, click a like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell, make a comment. It all helps. And as I always say, whilst you're willing to do that, I'm gonna do it anyway. But I'm gonna try and make better songs and try and write some new songs in 2023, which hopefully is going to be a great year for all of us, for whatever we're doing, whatever we're involved in, whatever obviously our sporting club is Tottenham Hotspur, but whatever let's hope it's a good year. Let's hope that there's a bit more peace and love in the world, because I think we probably need it. So
we can do. We need that. And also, Brad, I want to thank you as well. You've been a great supporter of this channel as well.
Thank you.
Please, everyone, get over to Blue Sofa Song, hit that like button, hit the subscription bell, Brad is the Eric Clapton of our Spurs community.
I prefer. Actually, no. I have to. Yeah, I think Eric Clapton, no matter how brilliant he is at playing guitar, is a bit of a twat. So
yeah, George Harrison then.
Yeah. Any of the great songwriters, Lennon, McCartney, Matthews, it rules. It runs.
Lennon, McCartney, Matthews. See how that just rolls with the tongue.
It does. Yeah.
Paddy Harnett just said, just a quick note to say, I wish you all nothing but the best for 2023. Keep up the good work, Paddy. Thank you so much indeed, sir. And look, everyone, thank you to my channel members who become channel members. I want to thank Nick Copeland, who's now become our channel sponsor. So thank you for that, Nick. And also the people that have put in super chats today. I think Wayne Bonner become a member today, and the super chat from Wayne Bonner. Thank you so much. It does help. And on your way out, if you do want to become a channel member, do it. It's on there. It's only, I think, the cheapest one is $2.99. So do that. It will be worth it, because we've got member shows coming up in the new year where we're going to get involved with your members and get you onto the panels, and a bit like Brad, and get you onto the shows and do your Spurs stories and debates and everything. So that's coming up in 2023. We're now going to bow out. Brad, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year,
Happy New Year to everyone watching. It's been an absolute my honor to do these YouTube shows for you, and we'll see you in 2023. Have a good one. Happy New Year. Whatever you do, let's back Conte. Conte in trust. Paratici, we definitely trust. Sorry, I got to do something here. I'm sorry, I meant to do it. I want to do this for Ellie. Ellie, if you're watching, this is for you. Ellie, that is for you. That bloke in the front, I have to say, he does make me laugh. He's just shown so respect. I'd love to get that fella on, actually. If you are watching, please get in contact. Your email is on the YouTube channel. I would love to get him on. But listen, thank you all for watching. See you in 2023. Have a good one tonight. Happy New Year. In the Done We Trust, I'm going to reframe it. In the Done We Trust, we definitely trust Conte. Come on, you Spurs.